Eli Harper walked through the glowing corridors of the station, his boots making soft thuds against the polished floor. The space station hovered at the edge of human and alien territory, a place where different species came to trade, talk, and learn about each other. Humans were curious by nature, always exploring, always asking questions, and Eli was no different. He had a reputation for being bold, sometimes too bold, and today, he was feeling unusually playful. He was headed to the exhibition hall, where representatives of the Iolari, a tall, elegant alien race, were demonstrating their martial skills. Eli had seen their warriors in action before, and he was always impressed by their strength, precision, and grace. But today, he wasn't just observing. Today, he had a plan, a small, harmless joke in mind. Vera, the warrior everyone admired, was the main attraction. Her ceremonial armor gleamed under the hall's soft lights, each piece perfectly polished and decorated with patterns that told stories of her ancestors. Eli had watched her from afar before, fascinated not only by her skill, but by the calm authority she carried. There was something magnetic about her presence, something that made everyone, even humans, step back a little. Eli approached the hall just as Vera stepped onto the demonstration platform. She moved with a quiet confidence, every gesture calculated, every motion purposeful. Her long, silver-like hair shimmered under the lights, and her eyes, sharp and intelligent, scanned the room. She didn't notice Eli at first, and he felt a rush of excitement. "Careful, Eli," muttered his friend Mara, who had followed him. "Don't get in trouble again. Remember last time?" Eli smirked. "Relax. I'm just going to watch, and maybe make one joke." Mara rolled her eyes but stayed behind him. Eli's idea of a joke often involved small risks, but somehow it always ended in laughter rather than disaster. Vera began her demonstration, moving through a series of intricate martial forms. The way her armor shifted with her movements was mesmerizing. She was fast, precise, and yet elegant, a combination that seemed almost impossible. Eli leaned on the railing, completely absorbed. Finally, when she finished a particularly impressive spinning kick, Eli called out, "You know, I bet I could make you take that armor off." The hall went quiet for a moment. Some of the aliens glanced at him, surprised by the audacity of a human speaking so casually to one of their most respected warriors. Vera froze mid-step, her hand in the air, and her eyes locked onto Eli. Eli realized immediately that he might have pushed too far. He had meant it as a playful tease, a light-hearted comment, not a challenge. But there was something in the way Vera looked at him, a mixture of curiosity and amusement that made his heart skip a beat. "You are bold, human," she said finally, her voice calm but carrying weight. Many would not dare speak so freely to an Aelari warrior. I didn't mean anything disrespectful," Eli said quickly, raising his hands. "Just a joke. I admire your skills. Really." Vera's eyes narrowed slightly, but the tension eased. She tilted her head, studying him, as if deciding whether he was worth her attention. "A joke," she repeated. "Interesting. Perhaps your kind has courage after all." The rest of the demonstration continued, but Eli found it hard to concentrate. Every time Vera moved, he was reminded of the delicate balance between strength and grace. He was fascinated, not just by her martial skill, but by the way she carried herself, the way she held her pride and confidence as armor. After the exhibition, Vera descended from the platform. Eli knew he had only one chance to interact with her before she returned to her duties. He approached slowly, careful not to appear too eager. "You were amazing," he said. "Seriously. I didn't mean the joke to be rude." Vera studied him for a moment, her expression unreadable. Then she spoke. "Many humans are loud, impulsive, or foolish. You are different. Perhaps I should test your courage further." Eli raised an eyebrow. "Test my courage? How?" "Follow me," Vera said simply. Without waiting for a response, she walked toward a private section of the station. Eli followed, heart racing. He didn't know what he was walking into, but something told him it would be worth it. They entered a quiet garden, hidden from the bustling station. The area was filled with glowing plants that pulsed gently in shades of blue and purple. The air was calm, scented with a faint sweetness from alien flowers. Eli had never seen anything like it, and for a moment, he forgot his nervousness. "This is beautiful," he said, looking around. "Humans don't have anything like this." Vera nodded. "It is a place for reflection, for truth. My people come here when we need to understand ourselves and others. You will participate in a tradition." Eli's stomach fluttered. "A tradition?" "Yes," Vera said. "A trust exercise. We reveal something about ourselves that we normally hide. Only then can we truly connect." Eli took a deep breath. This was not what he had expected, but he remembered her eyes during the exhibition, sharp, intelligent, curious. He felt that she wanted sincerity, not jokes. "All right," he said finally. "I'm ready." Vera nodded and stepped closer. "Tell me something personal, human. Something that shows who you are beyond appearances." Eli thought for a moment. He had always been brave in the face of danger, but revealing personal feelings was different. Finally, he said, "I've always felt that humans can do more than survive. We can create, explore, understand, even in the smallest ways. I want to see and learn everything, even if it's difficult." Vera's eyes softened, just slightly. "You speak with honesty. Few would say this aloud. Most would boast. Most would exaggerate. Your words are sincere." The two of them walked among the glowing plants, sharing stories of their worlds. Eli told Vera about Earth, about cities, floating on water, forests that glowed in the night, and humans exploring the stars. Vera listened intently, asking questions, showing genuine curiosity. It was unlike anything Eli had experienced before an alien warrior. Strong and proud, listening to him with interest, not judgment. Then it was Vera's turn. She spoke of her training, the responsibilities of her people, and the honor she carried with her armor. "The armor protects me," she explained. "Not from physical harm alone, but from emotions, from vulnerability. It is difficult to remove it, even among my kind." Eli nodded. "I understand. Armor is easier to wear than to show who you really are." A small smile tugged at the corners of Vera's lips. "Perhaps," she said. "Perhaps you are curious enough to see what is beneath. Human. That would take courage." Eli felt a thrill. The joke from the exhibition seemed trivial now. But in a strange way, it had opened a door. He realized that connection was not about teasing or dares. It was about trust, honesty, and mutual respect. They spent hours walking and talking in the garden, the station bustling far away, unnoticed. Eli showed Vera small human gadgets. He carried a device to record sounds, a tiny model of a spaceship. Vera admired the ingenuity, the care humans put into small things. In return, she demonstrated a few simple Aolari hand movements, explaining the meaning behind each gesture, how they expressed emotions or told stories. By the end of the evening, the playful tension from the exhibition had transformed into something deeper. Eli realized that Vera's strength was not just in her martial skill, but in her discipline, her curiosity, and her willingness to connect with someone from another world. Vera paused near a glowing tree, turning to face him fully. "You have courage, human," she said quietly, "and curiosity. Both are valuable traits, perhaps rare in your kind. I am intrigued." Eli felt his chest tighten. "I'm intrigued too," he admitted. I didn't just joke. I wanted to know you. Really know you. Veyra's lips curved slightly in a smile, a rare and precious expression. Then you may have the chance. But understand, this trust is not given lightly. It must be earned, moment by moment. Eli nodded. I can do that. For the first time, he noticed the glimmer of softness behind her eyes, a light that was usually hidden beneath the armor and pride. He didn't know what would happen next, but he knew this was only the beginning. A bridge had been built between them, a human and an alien warrior, connected through curiosity, honesty, and courage. As they walked back toward the main corridors of the station, Eli felt a sense of anticipation. The armor was still there, but the first cracks had appeared, and he knew, somehow, that one day he might see the true Veyra, not just the warrior, but the person behind the armor. And for a human who loved exploring, discovering, and connecting, that was a promise worth following. The hidden garden glowed softly under the station's artificial night sky, the alien plants radiating gentle shades of blue and purple. Eli Harper walked beside Veyra, feeling the strange mix of excitement and calm that came when he was near her. The exhibition hall, the teasing joke, and the earlier tension seemed far away now. Here, in this quiet sanctuary, they were just two beings from different worlds discovering each other. Veyra paused beside a tall plant whose leaves shimmered like glass. Eli, she said, her voice soft but steady, you have shown courage and honesty. Those are rare qualities. I am willing to show something in return. Eli's heart skipped a beat. I would be honored, he said, careful not to seem too eager. Veyra reached up and unclasped the small shoulder piece of her ceremonial armor. She did it slowly, deliberately, as if each movement was a ritual. The metal glinted in the soft light, then fell away, revealing the smooth, protective underlayer of her attire. It was less imposing than the full armor, but still practical and elegant. This is, Eli began, but stopped. Words seemed insufficient. The armor had always been part of the aura that surrounded her, part of the distance he felt between them. Seeing it partially removed, he realized the strength behind her pride and the vulnerability she had rarely shown. Veyra noticed his hesitation and smiled slightly. Do not be frightened. The armor is not all of me. It has protected me for a long time, but it does not define who I am. Eli shook his head, trying to gather his thoughts. I'm not frightened. I'm impressed. By you. By how much you trust me already. She looked at him carefully, her eyes searching. Trust is earned, human. You have begun to earn it. This is only a small step. Eli nodded. Then I'll keep earning it, moment by moment. The two of them moved deeper into the garden, finding a small bench near a pool of gently glowing water. The alien plants reflected in the surface, making the area look like a fragment of a dream. Veyra sat gracefully, and Eli found a spot beside her, careful to respect her space. You asked me to remove my armor, Veyra said, but do you understand what that means? Eli looked at her, puzzled. I think so. It's more than metal, right? It's your pride, your defenses, the walls you've built. She nodded. Yes, many think armor is only for battle, but it is also for the heart. Few are allowed to see what lies beneath. Eli considered this, feeling the weight of the moment. I don't want to rush you. I want to understand you. And if you let me, I want to be someone you can rely on. Veyra studied him for a long moment, her expression unreadable, then slowly unclasped another piece of her armor. This time, the chest plate. The underlayer beneath it shimmered like a soft fabric, designed to allow movement while offering protection. She sat taller, exposing herself in a symbolic gesture of trust. Eli's breath caught, not out of desire, but out of awe. The warrior before him was not only beautiful, but brilliant and strong in ways humans rarely understood. He realized then that strength and vulnerability were not opposites, they complemented each other, creating a being both formidable and approachable. "You humans are different from what I expected," Vera said quietly, almost to herself. "You seek connection rather than dominance. You value understanding." Eli smiled. "We try. Some of us, at least." She tilted her head. "You have a way of drawing me out. Others would never have seen beyond the armor. See." The soft glow of the garden seemed to wrap around them, and Eli noticed that he felt completely at ease, as if time itself had slowed. He could see the tension and discipline that the armor had represented, but also the softness in her posture now. The way her eyes flickered with curiosity and amusement. "I want to learn from you," Eli said sincerely. "Not just your fighting, but your world, your culture, your thoughts. Everything." Vera's lips curved into a faint smile. "Then, we shall begin. You will learn more than you expect, human. But only if you are patient and open-minded." Eli nodded eagerly. "I am." For the next hour, Vera guided Eli through a series of exercises. Not combat, but ways to understand Aelari emotions through movement and gestures. Each motion had meaning, subtle nuances that expressed feelings without words. Eli tried to mimic them, stumbling at first, but Vera corrected him gently. Sometimes, she placed her hand on his shoulder to adjust his stance, and each time, he felt a small spark of connection, a sense of trust building. "You are improving," she said, her voice light, but there was pride in it. "You are observant, patient, and willing to learn. These are valuable traits." "I'm just following your lead," Eli said, laughing softly. "You make it easy to learn." She looked at him, her eyes softening. "Perhaps it is easier to teach someone who genuinely wishes to understand, rather than simply imitate." They continued, moving through the glowing garden. Vera taught Eli small techniques, not to fight her, but to communicate through gestures. Each success brought quiet laughter and mutual respect. Slowly, the symbolic armor that had separated them seemed to dissolve further. Trust was replacing hesitation, curiosity replacing distance. Finally, they paused beside the glowing pool. Vera took a deep breath. "You have shown patience, courage, and honesty. That is why I will remove the last part of my ceremonial armor, for now. Not permanently, but as a sign that I am willing to share more of myself." Eli watched as she unclasped the final pieces. The full armor, which had always made her seem untouchable, was now gone, replaced by the simple, elegant underlayer she had revealed before. She stood tall, radiant, but not intimidating. It was a revelation of her trust and openness. "You see now," she said softly, "that my strength is not only in the armor I wear, but in my choices, my mind, and my willingness to connect." Eli nodded, feeling a warmth he had never experienced before. "I do see, Vera. And I respect it. I admire you, not just your skill, but you, the person behind the armor." A quiet silence settled between them. Neither spoke, but the garden seemed to hold its breath. Then, Vera spoke again, her tone lighter this time. "Perhaps humans are not only curious explorers, but also capable of patience, understanding, and care. I am surprised." Eli chuckled softly. "We can be, sometimes. Especially when we find someone worth it." Vera's eyes met his, and for the first time, Eli sensed a hint of warmth, a connection that transcended species and culture. He understood that the bond forming between them was special. It was built on trust, respect, and genuine curiosity, not jokes or superficial attraction. "Now," Vera said, a hint of playfulness returning, "you will learn something more." You will train with me, not as a warrior against me, but as a partner learning to understand another world. Eli's eyes lit up. I would love that. I can't wait. The two of them spent the next hour practicing movements together, laughing at mistakes, and celebrating small victories. Eli found himself learning not only about Vera's culture and techniques but also about patience, observation, and empathy. In turn, Vera seemed to relax more with each passing moment, sharing small anecdotes and personal reflections that she had never revealed before. As the artificial night deepened, Eli and Vera finally paused. They sat beside the glowing pool, tired but happy, the quiet sounds of the garden surrounding them. Eli realized that this was more than friendship, more than admiration. It was a connection forged through curiosity, patience, and respect. Vera looked at him thoughtfully. You have done well today, human. You have seen me beyond the armor, and I have seen that your intentions are sincere. That is rare, and it is valuable. Eli smiled. Thank you, Vera. I promise to keep learning, keep understanding, and keep respecting you, no matter what. The warrior nodded, a small but genuine smile on her face. Then we have begun something meaningful. It is not complete, and it may take time, but it has begun. Eli looked around the garden, at the glowing plants, the shimmering pool, and most importantly, at Vera. He felt a sense of hope, wonder, and excitement. Two beings from different worlds had found a way to connect, to share trust and curiosity, and perhaps, one day, more than that. As they stood to leave, Vera placed a hand lightly on his arm, a simple gesture of acknowledgement and companionship. Eli understood the depth of the gesture. It was not casual. It was a promise that their journey together had just begun. A path of friendship, understanding, and possibly something deeper. The corridors of the station seemed less intimidating now. They were no longer just human and alien. They were explorers together, learning from each other, building trust, and discovering the unexpected bonds that could form across worlds. And for Eli Harper, that was more thrilling than any adventure he had ever imagined.